Arcade1up fans divided. AtGames 4KP nukes the competition, and New Wave Toys rocks the boat. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and another episode of This Week, the show we talk about what happened this week in the home arcade community. Episode 118. 118, is that correct? Am I reading that right? Yeah, episode 118. Moving right along. It's always sometimes you got to step back and you got to think, 118 weeks plus every once in a while I got to skip one. I've been doing this for a while, and the fact that y'all just keep coming back, it's like, I don't know if you're into it, or maybe you're just a glutton for punishment. Who really knows? But I'm so glad that you're here. Got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, and I'm excited to kind of get into some of the stuff that I'm personally really interested in, really vested in. So I can't wait to talk about it with you in excruciating detail. So everybody, I want to say thanks for watching all the stuff that we did over the weekend over at Cleveland Gaming Classic, and it was just a hell of a good time. Not just the fact that we got to be together as friends, but also to meet just a ton of you, and then to meet some really cool vendors and take a look at some of the new stuff coming out. And this is a unique time in the home arcade community, the home arcade space. These products that are coming out, it's like there's a tectonic shift. Arcade1up really was the king for a while, coming out with all the stuff, right? It was just like stuff, volume, here's crap to look at. And that is changing. They have just damn near come to a grinding halt, releasing just a few products. And then that has allowed, I think, others to kind of shine and maybe get a little more spotlight because of the lack of just the sheer quantity. It just isn't there from Arcade1up. And I think that's good overall for not only the individual companies, but us as consumers, because if there's more competition, we win, and there's nothing wrong with that. So what is in my glass tonight? I'm sipping on some of that 10-year. Let me just emphasize, sipping. This is not a cheap bottle, but man, it's damn good. And it's just a good way to sort of reflect on what went on over the weekend in Cleveland Gaming Classic. We had some of that, and it was good times. It was good times. Fake nostalgia was pretty good, but I can't really say that fake nostalgia was better than actual nostalgia, because I've never met actual nostalgia. So I would love to make fun of him, and maybe I can meet him, and then I can tell him to his face that, yeah, the other guy's way better than you are in real life. So sipping on some Basil Hayden. I hope everybody's enjoying themselves. Winding down the weekend. Hope you had a great time. I had a great time watching my Cowboys destroy the Patriots. Last week was disappointing, to say the least, but I was able to actually watch the full game this week, and that was pretty awesome. To see them just hand it to Bill Belichick and his Patriots. It is the worst loss for Bill Belichick in his 29-year career. It's not all his fault. Obviously, his players, they got some issues at quarterback, but the Cowboys this week look great. Next week, who knows? Who knows what kind of Cowboys are going to show up? Who knows what kind of Dak Prescott's going to show up? Could be the guy that can't see out of one eye and likes to throw it to the other team. That guy could show up, but hopefully he will. Hopefully he's dead, gone, buried, never come back, and we have the good quarterback forever. That's what I'm hoping. So anyway, every week we have a poll question, and this requires a little bit of setup. We got to talk about this one just a little bit, because I had another poll question that we're going to go over in a little more detail later on. I posted a poll question with one of the most specific poll questions on my channel, on my community tab I've ever done. Very specific. Let me just start off by saying that poll question was not what I wanted, 100%, right? Wasn't what I wanted. It was what I assumed Arcade1up would come out with. The price point, the form factor, all that. I just assumed that if they did it, if Alien versus Predator is on any cabinet, that's probably the way they would do it. That's what I was assuming. By putting out that poll question, I thought that was the most realistic thing that they would produce, and I wanted to see what everybody would say. So we're going to get into some of that later on. That'll be the first topic. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but the reason why I'm saying this is because this is sort of the reason why I am coming to you with this poll question. This is what I think is what most people would be in for. Now, the price point, once again, it's not my price point. It's what I know they'll charge for this cabinet. But here is the poll question. After all that being said, here's the poll question. There's a lot of acronyms in here because I couldn't fit them all. You're limited on how many characters you can type in this poll question. So I'll go through this for those of you who don't know what all the games are. So here's a question for you. 76 votes. Awesome. Jump in there and let me know what you think about this. Let me know which way you fall on this poll question, because I think this is while this is more of what I want, we could potentially see that. I could see them coming out with this, maybe. But here's a question. Okay, enough beating around the bush. Would you pay $6.99 for a 3-player XL cabinet with Alien versus Predator, Knights of the Round, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, King of the Dragons, Armored Warriors, WOF, what is that? Warriors of Fate. I had to look some of these up. All the 3-player games that Capcom ever came out with, right? And then, of course, Captain Commando, and then, because you got to just kind of throw that on there as a well-known title. And then, of course, round it all out with Final Fight. These are going to be 3-button games or less. Not all of them are 3-player, but the majority of them are. I think that's all the 3-player beat-em-ups that they came out with. Now, this is definitely a beat-em-up cabinet. But if you're not going to put 6 buttons on it, you can't put Street Fighter on it, which I think is a good thing. So this is what I'm throwing out there for you. This is what I think that if they came out with this, that's the price point they would want, because I'm talking about the 4-player deck, but with 3 players. So we're not going to try to squeeze this onto a single player. I know it's XL. I know it's a little bit bigger, but I'm talking about the 4-player, like the Shack Jam XL deck, a 4-player XL deck, right? The 4-player, but with 3 players. You saw this if you watch the channel. If you've been paying attention to all the projects that I do, I actually did a Rampage cabinet and I used a 4-player deck. And when you do that with 3 players, only 2 buttons, you have a ton of room. But that's what I'm talking about. Picture the Shack Jam with 3 players instead of 4. Each player has 3 buttons, and all these games that I just listed. That's something you would pay $6.99 for. Once again, that's not the price I want. That's the price that I think that they would actually charge for it. So let me know. 89 votes. Let's see if we can't get that. I would love to get that north of 200, because we only have an hour to do this, whereas my other poll was up for days. But I'd love to get as many of you letting me, and listen, you ain't gonna hurt my feelings. Yes or no? What do you want? It's a simple question. I'm not a bunch of caveats. Yes or no? That price point, that cabinet, that size, and those games. Let me know what you think about it. I'm really, really curious to look at the results of that poll and compare that to the other one. So that's what I'm going for. Let me know. 91 votes. Awesome, guys. 92. Jump up there. Vote. Let your voice be heard. I'm not guaranteeing you that Arcade1up is listening to us. But, come on. There's no harm in trying. So anyway, that's the poll question. You know what's in my drink. You know what's been going on this week. A lot of fun stuff if you've been checking out the channel. I did get my XL cabinet back together, not 100% unscathed, but I think for the most part, she's good to go. Made some good progress on the arcade. Probably do a little short tomorrow, post set, so you can kind of get you caught up on that. That's getting really, really close. I don't even want to give away how much I've got done, but it's coming together, and I'm really, really excited. My goal is to have it done before Thanksgiving. That's the goal. Done. The arcade's moved in. So the only big outlier is going to be the carpet. The arcade carpet, depending on when they can come get. But I think as far as from my standpoint, I'm going to be ready to go. So I'm really, really excited about that. I want to move in. I want to share that with y'all. And then I want to get back to doing, other content, which is, drywall is great, but God, nobody wants to watch that. If you don't want to watch it, I sure as hell don't want to do it. Okay, so let's say hi to everybody in the chat. And first up, this could be a record. Frank D coming in at 10:35 a.m. saying first. Absolutely. Question answered. You are the first. Absolutely. Kevin Clausen swinging in. He said, "You beat me, Frank." And that is sad. That's sad. That you just missed it by that much. 10:36. You were 1 minute late. And yes, you were beaten. But you know what? Nothing beats this $2 super chat coming to us from Kevin Clausen. I tried to work that into the actual. I incorporated your own transition into your super chat. $2. Thank you so much for your super chat, buddy. And of course, you know where you're going. First one of the night, to the pit.
Finish him. Melina wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Died so young, but I like it when you incorporate your own transition. Dan Z's in the house. Good morning. How you doing? The Corner Cade saying, let's go, guys. Absolutely, guys and gals. No discrimination here. Beach Native 78 says, what's up, Foxy and chat? Stoked for tonight's stream. You're always my favorite part of Sunday. Smash that like button, y'all. Hashtag Fox Nation. Thank you. That is a huge compliment. I don't deserve it, but I'll take it anyway. Appreciate it. Game Broker 84 saying, can't wait for this week's show. So, happy Sunday, all. Cheers to a good coming week to all. Absolutely. I hope this kind of gets you pumped about going to work. Well, maybe nothing could do that, but I hope it's at least it's a good way, starting off on the right foot for sure. C Mart, the Centertainer, says, got to catch the replay since I have to log in at 4 a.m. But your streams make my workday so much better. By the way, Excel all the way, and I want and need that Excel Cinestar. Absolutely. Excel, that's the big I think that's part of the division. Video Game Vegas says, hello, Fox. I love the Addams Family skin for the new AtGames 4K V pin. Though not the original, I think of Stern. Stern's been doing multiple skins for years. When done right, I think variants are good. I agree. We haven't always gotten exactly the type of artwork we want from Arcade1up, but they can take a few liberties and still live within the confines of what we deem acceptable. So you know where I stand. I don't hate the look of the pin at all. The artwork to me looks fine. Jason Little Alien says, what is going on here? Why are you people in my house? Who took my last beer? Wasn't me. I would never do that. I would at least try to put the cap back on. I just, sorry. Rice Retro Kate says, Sub Fox, hope you had a good week. I absolutely did. I hope you also had a great week. As the arcade comes closer and closer to reality, you going to host a soft opening and invite the boys for an in-person unveiling? Absolutely. Absolutely. They're always welcome. You know what? Maybe I'll see if I can't get some local viewers to stop by the house. I know we got some people kicking around Cincinnati. I know Galaga 88 is just north of me. So why not get them to come in and take a look at it and give me some real thoughts, maybe do a little short video, maybe do a hangout, have some drinks. Yeah, why not? Why the hell not? That would be awesome. A Tran Fanatic is in the house saying, hey, how's everybody? Been plugging away at work, and the Z is holding on. Do what you can with that car, man. I'm telling you, it's a nice car. I love the Z's. The Grand Prix GTP is going to be taken apart here soon to do the head gaskets. Sadly, no T2 Arcade1ups at my local Best Buy. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Hang in there. I have all the faith in the world in you. Don't you worry at all. Just kind of swing. Okay, there we go. Just checking on. I'm going to keep checking this chat because I'm really personally invested in this. I posted it early so everybody will have a chance to vote. Jump in there. Everybody, let me know. Seriously. Let me know where you're coming from. Am I just delusional? It's possible. Absolutely possible. Cobretti Kai is in the house. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Evening Fox and chat. Regarding pinball, I think that when the time is right, I'll just spend $3K on a high-quality V-pin with 1,000 tables. Be done with it. That's a good conversation to have. I mean, really, once you've gone beyond a certain point, you're like, listen, I'll just spend a little bit more and kill it. Paul's in the house. How you doing, man? Paul Mitterman. And I'm with you at C Mart, the Entertainer. Got that Pac-Man XL, and everything else looks like a toy. No XL, no buy. That division is rearing its ugly head. My brother, Gotham City Arcade. Battle, how the hell are you? Hey, Battle, interesting topic for this week. Arcade1up needs to be transparent at this point. Plus, where the road for FYI 24. If Arcade1up isn't doomed, why haven't we seen any new cabinets or titles? It's a fair point. Nothing really new at all, right? Interesting. We're going to talk about that just a little bit though later on. JJ's in the house. Hey, Fox. How about them Cowboys? Yeah, how about them Cowboys? Looking pretty good. This week, they look great. Last week, not so good. But overall, not bad. They still got those 4-0 Eagles to contend with, who they just keep finding a way to win. I was really hoping Washington would knock them out and they'd all be even, and then we could, but, it is what it is. Now we got to keep pace with them for sure. I think Arcade1up should have a $300 lineup and a $500 plus lineup. As for AtGames, I'd love to get a 4K pinball, but it's too much money. Bad move to kill the CPU upgrades. That's an interesting discussion. That's an interesting topic. It's, they dangled that carrot out there. They told everybody, hey, listen, we're going to do this for you. We're going to do this for the community. And then they reneged on that. They backed off. They didn't go for it. It's one thing to have a rumor about it, or it's one thing to say, wow, it would be nice if they would do that. And it's another thing to say we're going to do it and then pull it back. Not good at all. Shannon Zon's in the house. Hey, Fox. Hope Arcade1up is paying attention to your poll. I hope so, too. We'll have to watch the replay. My Niners are 4-0. Watch your Niners. Damn it, I hope they lose. Sorry. I just hope they lose. I mean, it's the NFC. I'm worried about my team. Looking forward to watching. Best host on YouTube. Nope, I'm not, but I'll take the compliment. I absolutely appreciate it. G.I. Joel's in the house, buddy. Good to see you. Great American Hero, G.I. Joe, is there. Hayden Dew is in the house saying, I'd pay $6.98 for a real Ghostbusters cap. Not $6.99. That's a bridge too far. $6.98 is for the man. That would be a great game. Absolutely. Show Gecko's in the house. Hey Fox, just having a Miller Lite and hoping to enjoy the show. Hoping you're gonna have some tequila soon. Dun, 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 dun. Not yet, but anything's possible. I have a flight at 10:55 tomorrow, so I'm not going in early. Well, I'm gonna be there at 9. Moving on. Don't even think about it. That's a sector. Hell and back. Absolutely. Scrolling down. Matt Asher Gaming, buddy. How the hell are you, Scott? Got my new COVID booster on Friday, and I still feel like Mikrob. That's not, man, I'm sorry. That sucks. Hang in there, buddy. Hang in there. Hopefully it'll knock it out. That'll knock it out. I have no idea. Yes. Hashtag we them boys. Absolutely. Scrolling down. Want to say hi to everybody. Andrea? Yeah, Andrea F. Carl O. Me too, my friend. From Italy. There we go. From Italy. Art Davis in the house. How the hell are you, brother? Great to see you. Hopefully you can make the most out of that apartment that you're stuck in. And hopefully these XLs will scratch that itch for you. What up, Fox? Hey, all my good people. Absolutely, everybody. Say hi to Art. Great person. Awesome. Great time to see. Had a great conversation hanging out with him over there by the by the disappointing non-announcement from New Wave. Come on, guys. You're killing me. Bob's in the house. Hi, all. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Tell those kids I said hi. And, listen, get to bed. It's late. You got school tomorrow. My brother is in the chat, moderating like a beast. Snow Dubs, listen, when you get the great advice dispensed by the snowy one, you got to heed it. Smash that like button, peeps. It helps me out a ton. Smash the like button. Share the live stream. All that good stuff. All the YouTube jazz. It helps. Trust me. Evening. Gox $5.99. I'm assuming Fox, but we'll go with that. Even Gox $5.99 should be the cap. Period. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about it because I think you're hitting on a very important point. MSU Rich says, "Good evening, everyone. Great to see you, buddy. Great to see everybody." See John John A. Yes, I made it on time tonight. Yes, you did. Happy to have you here. Checking it out. Ricardo is in the house saying hi, everyone. How you doing? Everybody say hi to Ricardo. Thank you so much. John Phillips is in the house. Checking in, sir. What we drinking tonight? Just a little Basil Hayden. Quickly becoming my favorite brand. Maybe not favorite because I think the price point can kind of push you out. This bottle was $80 here. But that was on sale. I think it's like $100 bottle usually. So the price is a little prohibitive. So I think I'm still maybe going back to the Jeffersons. But as far as my favorite, because it's got to be accessible. Much like the arcade hobby we're in. You see what I did there? Tie that up with a bow. That was a good one. Patting myself on the back as we speak. Moving right along. Want to say hi to Stupid Fat Hobbit is in the house. They won't be releasing anything next year because Rexer is going to sue him. Because while he makes fun of all you for your fake positivity and your super chats, he gets by with fake negativity and listen, I'm going to assume that those are his real thoughts. I don't know him personally. I'm going to assume that those are his real thoughts, as I would hope that everybody would assume these are my real thoughts. Super chats are great, but listen, if you're just here watching, if you like the video and share it, that's just as good. But I like super chats too. Thank you so much for stopping by, buddy. I really appreciate it. And we'll see how that lawsuit pans out. Will Sin says eyeballs. Blink once if you're in trouble. Blink twice if you're having a great time. Ruben Gomez is in the house. I agree. Go Cowboys. Love that icon. Absolutely love it. Nooner is here saying, please, Cowboys beat the damn Niners. Love the Seahawks, though. The Seahawks, listen, that's Snow Dub's favorite team. So I will never talk ill of the mighty Hawks from the sea. Walter is in the house saying 699 with their current sticks, etc. is new. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. He's not buying it. Are you buying it? Is it something you're going to jump in with both feet? I don't know. Dr. Jeffrey's in the house saying, have a great show. First glass of wine is in your honor. Well, I appreciate it. And I'm just glad I'm inspiring people to take a glass, turn it up, and have a great time. Absolutely. And, by the way, my positivity is not fake. You've seen this show where I've been less than positive, and that was genuine. Trust me. Scrolling down here. Prince Malcolm, my brother, how the hell are you? Throw in Punisher 2 for $5.99. Listen, okay, damn it, you're right. That's a really, really good point. That's a really, really good point. I think the price point's going to stay where it is. I'm sorry. But Punisher, throw that son of a gun back on there, and now you got something, because I don't think Disney has an issue with Punisher being on Marvel cabinets because of the whatever. But I think in this case, we're not really, there's not a lot of Marvel going on here. In fact, there's no Marvel going on. I'm trying to remember. There is Fox. So you have Alien versus Predator. But listen, the Punisher shoots people. The Alien and the Predator, they kill people in way more brutal ways. So I can't imagine. In fact, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. A better marriage doesn't exist as far as Capcom beat 'em ups. Come on. Do the right thing. Prince Malcolm is the man with the great plan. Chum Bucket says too much at $6.99. We're going to talk about it, because I think that once again, this is the price that I know they would charge. That's why I'm throwing it out there, guys. But I'm not signing off on it for sure. Big B73 is in the house. No, just add a bigger deck, period. Yeah, a little bit more room. Come on, 4 players, 3 players. We got to have a little something. We got to have some elbow room, even 2 players. But I got to say, 2 players with the XL form factor is not something that I've personally played on. I know we've seen it with the KI Pro, but I want to see an XL. If they would come out with just a 2-player Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. And I think, honestly, if you look chronologically at what they've released, we may actually see an XL Mortal Kombat before we see an XL Street Fighter. That's just kind of the way. That is. Scrolling down, Phil's notebook. What does it say today? I'm drinking Johnny Walker Blue tonight. Excellent choice. Damn. Enjoy. Not too shabby. Jason's in the house saying, what up, Fox and chat XL all the way. I'm telling you, that's the divide I am speaking of. It is definitely real. It's tangible. It's potent. It's in the air. Miss G is in the house. How the hell are you? Great to see you. Evening. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're rocking the shirt as always. M30 WM 1X lot. I'm sure I said that wrong. I just started. I feel like I was reading a serial number. Hi, Fox in chat. $6.99 flat no. After getting burned by Blitz dropping so soon after launch, never again. Doing full MSRP, $4.99, $5.49, possibly on sale at $3.99 or less. Definitely. I can't disagree with you. I really can't disagree with you. All important thoughts. Yes, there we go. Your Hawks. Go, Hawks, go. Absolutely. Scrolling down. Want to say hi to most of you, everybody. Vader86, Dave D. What is in the house? Gay did no. What happened? What did you almost trick me with the Eagles positivity? What are you doing? They're looking pretty good, though. They're looking pretty good. I will say that they're representing our division very well. Absolutely. Super well. Awesome. A great representation of the division. And you know what else is a great representation of this community, at least? It's Snowdubs laying down $2, a $2 super chat. My brother, thank you so much for your $2 super chat. So is the rumor true on an AVP cab? Not confirmed. It was part of a list that was sketchy at best. It was part of a list that was proposed items. I think that if we really, I'm trying to gauge the community with the AVP talk, because I know it's my favorite, but I know a lot of people don't like the game. That's fine. Those people are insane. But I'm trying to really get a read on where people are with this game. Can it stand on its own? Probably not. It's not going to be a T2 cabinet where it's just one game. But I think that it has a place if you're a beat 'em up fan. Thank you so much for your $2 super chat, brother. Really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Here you go.
Thanks for the super chat.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the super chat. It is a wonderful thing to do. Greatly appreciated. Supporting the channel. And it helps me out a ton. So why not accept another one? This is another one coming to us from Wright's Retrocade Canadian. $2.79 Canadian. Just a little bit spicy. A little bit extra, a little something special. And I do appreciate you so much. Fake positivity is Canadian. Stay in your lane. Yes, absolutely. I will only exercise positive positivity, real positivity, and I'll leave the banana eating to the real nostalgia. Okay, lots to talk about tonight, and we're not going to do it by saying hi to the chat. It is one of my favorite things, maybe even my favorite part of the show, saying hi to y'all, but we got to move, so let's get into it. The AVP poll, the division, the divide. It's not just AVP that's dividing the entire community. I really don't think that game is. A lot of people are like, well, fine, whatever, Fox. We know that that's your game. You pat me on my head. You're like, okay, Fox, yeah. We hope you get your game, but it's really not for us. I know it's not that big of a thing, and that's not the game that would ever divide any kind of community. I don't think so. Not going to be a lot of passionate people on either side. But what is going to be a division, a schism between the community is going to be, I believe, the XL form factor and all the other 3/4 scale stuff. I compared directly to Deluxe because they're almost exactly the same form factor, except one is just a little bit bigger, right? No riser. And, it's like, there's no point. I mean, what are you doing? At least that's the way that some people actually view this. So let's get into the poll itself. What am I talking about? Here is the poll as of today. I think we may have a few more votes, but this was incredibly interesting to me because it was absolute. I thought it would swing wild one way or the other. Maybe just a bunch of yeses because everybody wants something new and different. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs is definitely just a glaring omission that they should have had on there. Another 3-player, you could definitely do that. They already did Knights of the Round, so I thought that I could throw that in there, and this would be a decent thing to kind of talk about. I thought it was going to be a bunch of yeses because it was something new. Even if you don't like Alien versus Predator, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs is another universal hit, right? So those two are definitely good and definitely something that I would like to see. But of course, I want to see the cabinet skinned in Alien versus Predator. And I think that would be the game that they would have to spend the most money on. So the licensing and all that would justify skinning it in that game, right? But the fact that it was absolutely 50-50 split, I was just concerned. Like, wow, people really don't like the game at all. What did I do? Yeah, do this. Yeah. People didn't like the game at all. People hate the game. The game is the problem. Well, not necessarily. While this poll is absolutely split 50-50, I decided to go ahead and look at some of the no's. Now, not the actual no votes, but the people that commented down below. They commented, and I was really focused on the people that, while, I'm with everybody saying, hell yeah, let's do it. The people that were saying, no, and here's why, that is what I really wanted to dig into, because while we know that half the people, 279 of you said no, I wanted to know why. What was the divide? What was the reason? So I started to go through and tabulate all the reasons, and I thought I would break it up into 3 main categories. Lack of games, not so much Alien versus Predator. Like I said, the people that don't like Alien versus Predator, we've established they're completely insane, and their judgment can't be trusted. But the lack of games, and I kind of thought, let me just throw 3 games on there to see. I thought that might be a problem, but you never know. So the lack of games was a category. The price is a category, and XL is another category, because everybody in their comments would bring that up in one way, shape, or form. They would say, well, I'd rather pay $100 more and get this as an XL. Or I'm never going to buy a cabinet that's not an XL. Or what have you. Or, a $499 is the most I would pay for anything 3/4, but they would bring up XL. XL always kept coming up. So what it ended up being, it was kind of crazy. The split, the references to the different 3 categories was actually 32% games, or the lack thereof. 32% was the price, and then just a little bit more than the other was XL, 34%. So a little bit more than the other 2. It's something that it's very interesting. It's not going to go away at all. And if Arcade1up thinks it's going to, they've got a real problem on their hands, because this, to me, seems to be the real divide with the community, and it's XL over any other form factor. And I think that the 2 could be together. XL price could be the reason. When you look at their current lineup, and this is just this, I know you maybe get tired of this slide coming up, but the damn thing keeps changing because they keep coming up with funky categories. It's tough to decide and explain to somebody who's getting into this hobby for the first time what to expect from sizes, classes, categories. What cabinet's going to be, what price, what should I expect to pay for a cabinet at a certain price? That's another thing that people, they see this price like, is that usually the price? Well, it depends, and it's kind of wild. So when you look at the current state of affairs as things are right now, You've got your classics, which are $299, which I think is a good thing. BOE monitor, non-lit marquee, but all the other bones are there. It's a great way to get started. If you want to just play on a stool, it's like, candy cab height, like I have back here. It's not bad. It's not a bad way to go. And for $299, listen, if you catch this thing on sale, if you can grab like a gift card for 50 or $100 off, can you imagine? I mean, that would be, for $200. It's a great way to get started on these. And they've never had more games on them. And they've never been just feature packed online, everything, within this classic form. So $299 is great. I don't have a problem with it at all. The collab cabs / legacies are $499. The legacies make a hell of a ton of sense at $499. These collab cabs are going to be, man, I don't know. I think if we do see Cowabunga collection next year, the Atari 50th is giving me hope for that cabinet. I say hope loosely because I really wouldn't mind that one. But we're going to see in a minute. The issue is not really the price. I think it's more the the form factor. So you get the collab cabs and legacies of $499. You bump up $100. You get what I would consider to be the current deluxes. I mean, legacies are also deluxes, but they're $499. So see how confusing this gets. You see how it feels wild to try to get somebody into this, and try to explain it to them. It's confusing. But you have the deluxes, which are not even really new games. This is a vault edition, whatever, but it's a light gun game, so it's a little bit different. But it's weird. It's not even a new game. So I thought that maybe new games that were in deluxes would be the $599, but they're not. So who the hell knows? So $599 for some deluxes, whatever they feel like charging, I guess. Then you have I just call this Deluxe Plus because I don't even know what the hell. This price point comes out of nowhere. $749 for Time Crisis. They're not breaking new ground with this cabinet. There's absolutely nothing new with this cabinet at all. The games are great. The shape of the cabinet looks great. I think it looks good. The eye panel on the front of the cabinet should just be that pale color, to mimic the actual arcade from back in the day. There's no reason for this to be. It's like you're regressing. You're going back to, look at the deluxe. Look at the deluxe Big Buck Hunter. They got all the games on the front. What are you doing? It's like you're regressing. You're going backwards. You got that stuff on the side of the cabinet. Don't put it on the front. But other than that, it's a decent cabinet. It's a solid cabinet. There's no way in hell $749 is justified. But here's the big problem. Here's the problem that always I don't care what you do. The genie is out of the bottle. You can't put it back in. You've introduced XL cabinets and, Golden Tee, Shack Jam were $699, but now we've got Pac-Man XL with a B. This is what blows my mind. When you think about this, this is the first time we've had an XL cabinet with a BOE monitor. The other two, you had to pay $100 more, and you really needed to upgrade the monitor or just, be content with a subpar monitor. So we've got an XL form factor. We've got a better monitor. We've got light up buttons for no damn reason, and it's $100 cheaper. $599. You've done it. You've established this. So now what is this slide going to look like next year? Are we going to have XL legacies that are $599, but then you got XL deluxes or XL plus, and it's going to be $699 or $799? Who the hell knows? It's just all over the place. But the problem is always going to be that XL 3/4 scale form factor, that divide, that 17-inch. I mean, especially when you're talking about something like Time Crisis. And if you try to go beyond $599, I mean, I think personally, if you try to go beyond $499 for a 17-inch monitor, I think you're probably asking a little too much. And as more time goes on, and the availability of Time Crisis is just limited to Shop Hippo, and you got guys like me, you got guys like guys and gals like you out there. Maybe you're holding on to some gift cards from Christmas or a birthday, and you want to save $100 from Walmart or Amazon or Best Buy. You're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting, and nothing's happening. And this thing is stuck on Shop Hippo, and it's $749. The longer I wait, the less interested I am in the cab. I mean, really. I mean, the guns are kind of an issue for me. At least with the T2 gun, you had the electric motor. You had something going on. You had perceived value. They've cheapened out on the guns. The camera electrical connection, the wires, everything that has to support the camera is still there. That's great. But the recoil action is just plastic. It's just a pencil spring. mechanical pencil spring. And I just don't think that is, I mean, I think it's going to be more annoying than anything else. You're pulling through too much to get what? I mean, sort of a simulated type of feedback, but not really. Nothing like a solenoid, nothing like an electric motor would do. I mean, they could really kind of go with the same electric motor and have it maybe, I don't know, revolve once, there could be something else. Maybe try to incorporate a small solenoid, something to actuate that. And then maybe, just maybe, but the fact that this thing is $50 more, it's kind of nuts. I mean, $50 more than T2 is kind of nuts. There was so much more going on in that cabinet when you think about it. It's for better or for worse, it was one of the most unique cabinets at the time. The machine guns, the motors inside. I mean, there was more electronics inside those guns. There was more going on. Less games for sure, but more going on with the cabinet. So the more time that goes on, I'm just not that excited about it. And especially when we keep hearing about XL next year. So I think the two big determining factors when it comes to whether we're talking about my favorite game, my favorite beat 'em up is Alien versus Predator. Your game is fill in the blank here. When we're talking about our favorite games coming out, it's not just I wish they would do it. There's a bunch of caveats now. Your favorite game is like, okay, I hope they do it, but I want an XL, and I don't want to pay $900, $800, $700 for this game. I want to get it for $599. Why? Because Arcade1up has set the precedent. They have said, hey, here's an XL cabinet. Yeah, it's Pac-Man, but it's still an XL cabinet for $599. BOE monitor, 19-inch. Hooray. The world rejoices. But it's just, for me, that's going to be the bigger deal. We want what you've given us before, not something outlandish, not something crazy. When it comes to Alien versus Predator, you have done CPS2 games all day long. You've had multiple cabinets, multiple iterations of the CPS2 line. And I'm just talking about this one system, this one Capcom Play system, just this one arcade emulation system, or not emulation system, but one arcade system. I'm not talking about something exotic, something that's maybe harder to emulate. And when we're talking about Time Crisis, you've already done that with Ridge Racer. It's already out there. You're not using something crazy. Now, if we're talking about something that pushes you far beyond, and it's going to be like Star Wars Trilogy or something else where you're going to have to go beyond into the Sega Model 3 or something crazy, which is a little bit harder, and you're going to have to develop your own emulator. There's a lot of R&D there, and I think that if you're going to come at us with a price point that's above $599, even if you're going above $499, the conversation has to be had. You have to really seriously consider XL, because I think that's what we're talking about. We're not necessarily talking about like back in the day, just the games. Oh, if they this game, that'd be cool. We're not talking about that anymore, because your pricing structure is all over the place. Arcade1up, look at this. Realize, think about what you're doing. Your pricing structure is bananas. It's nuts. And one thing missing on this slide is the other XLs that are still $699, even though they have subpar monitors. They're $100 more. Your pricing structure is all over the place. You need to simplify this. You need to slim it down. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I think a couple of the people in the audience are probably going to agree with me. If you can't do the cabinet for $499, it's going to have to be XL. Moving right along to another arcade company that get a little crazy, throwing down the gauntlet, throwing down the tech, and making no bones about the fact that they're serious. They're not playing around, and they are absolutely 100% here to stay. And that is AtGames and their 4KP. Is it beautiful? Is it all we'd ever dreamed of? Is it just a thrill and a joy to play? I have no idea. Because sadly it was not at the Cleveland Gaming Classic. Now, AtGames was there, and I'm telling you, home arcade companies, if you want people to take a chance on your product, they've got to be able to take it for a test drive. And having AtGames at the Cleveland Gaming Classic was a great thing. It was a great foot forward. It was absolutely the right thing to do, because I saw people, listen, it was crazy. Real pinball is real pinball. No substitute for it. But you would see that there were some real pinball machines that nobody was actually, playing. You'd see a couple pinball machines nobody was at. But the AtGames booth was packed. Everybody was in there checking out these little digital pinball machines. The little micros were on display. They had some with the legs, some without the legs, and of course the full, well, not it's their full size versions. They were on display and people were playing it and people were having a good time with it. And then they started asking questions and they wanted to know more. And I think it's a great thing to do. I think it's a good idea to have a presence, show up, and maybe you don't do every convention every weekend all over the country, but pick a few, pick 4, maybe do one quarterly and show up and have a presence and let people test drive your equipment, test drive your tables, test drive your video machines, especially if you got something new coming out, especially if you got YouTubers coming and we want to talk about it. We want to video it. We want to do a sneak peek. We want to do all these things, but we can't do that if you don't show the thing off. It is going to be in Chicago next weekend, October. I can't remember I think it's this month, right? It's going to be up there a couple weekends, I think, up in Chicago. And I think we're going to have P-Dubs there for sure. I think Michael B is trying to go. If I'm free, if I'm not traveling, I want to try to get up there because it's only about a 5-hour drive. So I'd like to see if I can't get up there and join the guys and take a look at this thing because I still don't have one. And as of right now, I'm going to wait. Now, let's take, what are we talking about here? We're talking about 4K pinball from AtGames. Here's some of the specs. Just want to get everybody up to speed. I know we've been talking about this sort of to death, but there's a lot going on here. We're talking about 4K, 32-inch playfield. We're talking about the DMD is 8-inch. We're talking about another monitor above that is going to have your back glass. It's not a 24-inch. It's a 23.8-inch HD back glass, and then the DMD is 8-inch. Large, I love this, large speakers. What is it? It's a large 3.5. That you don't use large to describe speakers. You talk about the power. That's one thing that iArcade did great. They talked about their power, 120 gigawatts of power. You talk about the sound they generate, not necessarily their size. The pre-orders went up. We are currently in this is the last one. We've actually gone beyond. So now we're in the 3rd tier of pre-order, 11.1. No, I'm sorry, not 11.1, 10.1. So we're in the 2nd tier where you can still save a couple $100. So $12.99. I think this thing is going to be $14.99. Final price $14.99 plus $100 to ship it. So right now you can still save, not as much as you could, but you can still save a couple $100 if you go ahead and pre-order this thing. Now I am not ready to pull the trigger just yet, but if you're interested, you can save a couple $100. The reason I'm talking about this again is, I think I wanted to let everybody know I'm not getting this yet. I'm just not there yet. I think for me, I'd rather wait for what may be coming. But they came out, they didn't really say it to you and me. They said to some of these YouTubers, some of these influencers, for lack of a better term, that are in their AtGame group. I'm not a part of that. I don't own any AtGames products, with the exception of the Core Max. So I thought probably not a good idea for me to even attempt to join. But they did let everybody know, hey, listen, sales pre-orders went really, really well. We found out the Super Game Room dudes let us know that they've actually doubled they doubled their targets for North America and Canada. So that's good. That's good. And I think that because listen, like I said before at the top of the show, more companies making more products, competition is good for the consumer. It's good for all of us. But like I said, I'm waiting. And with the good sales numbers, like I said, that's definitely a good thing because I know and you know that there's really no competition. And we've talked about some of these big pinball machines, these V-Pins. You can spend $3,000 or $4,000 and you can get a banging system. You can really, but if we're talking about $1,500, even $100 for shipping, let's say we're $1,600, and jumping into this ecosystem that has some limitations. You can't just take all the games, all the tables from your existing V-Pin lineup and just upload it to this cabinet. You can't do that, which is a big limiting factor. It's a bit of an issue, but they're going to have a pretty good library. It's starting out with the 14 games. I'm sorry, the 15 games, 15 or 14, 15 or 14 games, 15 games. And you're going to have one Zen title and then a bunch of other titles. But I'm looking towards the future. Now, when I talk about, before we get into that, let's talk about the lack of competition, because at $1,500, you're thinking, damn, Fox, that's crazy. That's a lot of money. There was never any competition within that space. Well, technically there was some competition at half that price. Now, at half that price, you're also talking about a much, much cheaper much less feature-rich VPN experience. That was with Arcade1up, but Arcade1up had that Zen licensing. So you got some pretty good tables. You got 10 tables per cabinet, or per machine. They had 3 machines. They had the Attack from Mars, the Marvel, and the Star Wars. So that was an option. But with Arcade1up basically recoiling, they're retracting, they're pulling back. They're not really investing at all. They've given us no signs that they're going to even go beyond or push beyond the 3 machines that they offer. They're not talking about adding features. They're not talking about 4K. They're not even talking about a larger playfield. They're talking about scaling back, doing less, taking away features. And that's exactly the opposite way you need to go when you're talking about a virtual pinball machine. You're trying to recreate something that is mechanical, that's very tactile, that's something that's just, you have to push forward if you want people to spend any money on your machine, anything at all, especially when you're currently asking $750 for these damn things. They're going on sale left and right, $100 here, $100 there, but basically retail is $700, $750. That's kind of nuts. That's really, really crazy. Also, Arcade1up has basically shot themselves in the foot. We just talked about the divide between 3/4 scale and XL, 17 versus 19, right? Arcade1up has kind of shot themselves in the foot with the XL when you really think about it. Now, everybody's just waiting for XL. If a new cabinet comes out, they're like, great, let me know when it's an XL. Time Crisis, I'm kind of in that camp. It's $749. I just can't buy a 17-inch shooting cab. Just can't do it. But going back to Arcade1up, and they're pulling back. They're doing less. They're shooting themselves in the foot with the XL cabinet. And then, of course, the 3/4 scale market, the 3/4 scale stock that they have there, it's going to be tough for them to move those units, especially when people are hearing about this XL cabinet coming out. Your favorite cabinet could come out in XL. So they're not going to put any money into VPN at all. They're not going to do anything. I doubt they're even going to come out with a 4th machine. It's just not going to happen. I just don't see it. And don't expect it to be anything feature rich at all. And they're going to want to charge over $700 for that subpar, substandard experience. It's just not something I'm interested in. And I don't think that you are either. So at $1,500, there's nobody even really close. Everything beyond that is custom builds. You're going to somebody else and you're spending $3,000 plus. So double, right? So this is where we're at. So I think that it's great news that they really don't have any direct competition at their price point. I know some people have said, I know I just read the comment in the top of the show, hey, I'll just spend $3,000 and then swing for the fences. And that's good and it's great. And it makes a lot of sense once you go beyond $1,500. It's like, well, what the hell? But for those of us that aren't really ready to do that, $1,500 could be the sweet spot. But Adam's Family just really isn't my jam. I'm not a huge pinball fan, but I would rather wait for something else. And when you consider the partnership with Zen and all the different announcements and all the different cabinets that they're announcing or saying that they're going to come out with different skins or whatever, you have to consider the huge library that Zen is a part of. So we have Star Wars, we have Marvel, and all that's great, well documented, and that's good. But I'm really more interested in this stuff, the universal packs that they have. While, Marvel and Disney, Marvel and Star Wars, all that's good. I'm more of a fan of old school Star Wars. I don't like the new stuff. So none of that really appeals to me. Only some of that appeals to me. Marvel, I'm pretty much good with. Some of the newer stuff, the new movies and new shows, it just falling flat for me. But one thing that wouldn't fall flat for me at all is definitely going to be some of these universal packs. When you think about the potential, the possibilities, all the Jurassic Park tables, the Universal tables, E.T., Jaws, Back to the freaking Future. If we're going to spend over $1,000, damn it, I would absolutely love to get in on some of that Back to the Future action. There's a fly on my, what the hell? Not a fly, it's like a little gnat or something. Star Wars is great. I love it. But I love the old stuff. So if they come up with a Star Wars table, I don't know what I'm going to really get. But if you're talking about, Back to the Future, you can't go wrong. Nobody's messed with that. Nobody's screwed it up in some weird way. So there's that. Alien versus Predator, Alien or Predator, Indiana Jones. I mean, the list goes on and on. Incredible classic titles, and I can just imagine getting a cabinet skinned with that stuff, skinned with a movie franchise that just hasn't been manipulated or messed with by current politics, current Hollywood, where they try to inject agenda this way or that. It's just the purity of the art form, the purity of the entertainment that I miss, and those older movies embody that. So I would absolutely love to get something like that. What I'm waiting for really is not a bunch of this, which they could listen. That could be the next one they announce. Addams Family did great. We doubled our targets. Awesome. But then they give us Clone Wars, which is fine. But then we start getting new Star Wars, and I'm really a fan of old Star Wars, and I don't want to mix the two. And I want the artwork to be old Star Wars, like original trilogy and prequels. I don't want the new stuff. So I may not get exactly what I want there. Same thing with Marvel. I'm a big fan of the MCU, but I think it should have ended at Endgame. Anything after Endgame is just unnecessary, with the exception of Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and the last Spider-Man movie, No Way Home. Those two were great. But those could have served as like the epilogues. Is that it? Yeah, epilogues. Yeah, it's wrapping up the whole MCU, but that's a whole different show altogether. But what I would really be pumped about, what I would really be excited about, is a Zen table with something like this. I'd be all about that. And I don't mind. Listen, if they don't do the early bird pricing, I think I'm okay. I think it's still worth waiting for. This is a wild concept. I know. Brace yourself. Buckle up. Maybe we should wait for getting exactly what we want, and maybe not settling for something that is okay, but I saved a couple $100 on it. Wait for the thing that you want. I want to see what this 4K pinball looks like. Is it even worth it? Or maybe it's worth just sticking with the original. Last topic of the night is New Wave toys. New Wave is making waves, rocking the boat. People are upset. It's crazy. What are they talking about? What happened? So right before the Cleveland Gaming Classic, I think it was the Thursday before, they announced exactly what they were going to unveil. And I saw the silhouette, and I'm like, there's no way they're going to do it. I thought it would be a candy machine, but no, they actually announced the USB cigarette machine and Art-O-Matic machine. These are, for those of you who are, I don't know when these things quit showing up in bars and arcades and whatever, but back in the day, 70s, 80s, cigarette machines were, they looked just like this. You would put some coins in it, and you would have a pull slot, like a pull tab, like a bar would come out, and you would pull for the pack of cigarettes you wanted. There was all different kind of smokes in there. Imagine a Coke machine without all the refrigeration, right? It's just dry storage. You would pull your tab, and away you go. And these, obviously, once the government started cracking down on the fact that smoking was, hey, guess what? It's bad for you. Back in the day, they used to put cigarettes in MREs for our soldiers. It just wasn't thought of in that way. There was a specific time, and I'm serious. This is not a joke. I'm telling you, being serious. In MREs, and if you were served in the military, an MRE is a meals ready to eat. It's a pack, right? Your C-rats. Back in the day, they would include, like when I was serving, they included like a little thing of M&Ms that expired like 5 years before I got to open it, which you're in the field, you really don't care. And they had like cocoa pouches and little freeze-dried coffee pouches, and then your actual meal was in there. But back in the day before I served, they were you would get 2 cigarettes as part of your meal, as part of your C-rat. It just wasn't, people didn't think that cigarettes were that bad for you. You could smoke on planes. Doctors would sit at the bedside with their patients smoking. It just wasn't, they didn't know. There was some ignorance there. There's a lot of ignorance there. But then studies showed, I don't have to run the gamut with you, but basically cigarettes equal bad for your health, right? So they started cutting it out of everywhere, and now it's 2023, and if you want to smoke a cigarette, you have to huddle under some street lamp across the road from the place that you work because you're shunned, you're evil, your secondhand smoke will kill us all. Okay, all right, wrap it up. So what they decided to do is harken back to, I know this is going to blow your mind, but a nostalgia company decided to bring back something from a different time in our past that some people might be nostalgic for. And it actually pertains to arcades and bars. Shocker. I know it's blowing your mind. I know your head is exploding as we speak, but that's exactly what they did. Now, some people are a little upset about this. So what we have on the left is a cigarette. Now, they didn't get any official licensing. Cool was the cigarette brand, KOOL. This is COOL. They have some mountains in the background. Ha, it's very tongue-in-cheek. Ha, ha, ha. But this is exactly what those cigarette machines looked like back in the day. And Cool was definitely a brand that had a machine at some point, I would imagine. I never understood the appeal of a menthol cigarette. Now, what are we talking about? So we're talking about the cigarette machine. If you want to get one of these, now these are similar to the change machines that you have from New Wave Toys that have USB ports in the back and they're chargers, and they can power your small arcade collection. If you buy other arcade machines, you can plug this into that, and it's like a hub. It's like a USB hub. It charges all your machines. So it's just like that. But this one happens to be shaped, instead of a change machine, a cigarette dispensing machine. And to drive the point home, it's really not that, it's not subtle at all when you consider the bonus stuff you get. So when you buy this thing, you get a couple faceplates. If you look at the Cool image with the snow-capped mountains in the background, you can swap that out with something else. You could swap it out with 2 additional faceplates that they have. One of those is blacklight reactive, which would be good if you have black lights in your arcade. So you can swap that out. You can swap it out with another Cool super lights, is what it says. It's kind of funny. They also include a bonus smoking kit. Driving the point home, upsetting a ton of people. You get 2 1/6 scale packs of smokes, a little ashtray, 2 little cigarettes, and a lighter. I think it's hysterical. It's hilarious. I think it's awesome. But not everybody thinks it's hysterical or awesome. They say that you're promoting smoking, and that's bad and evil and wrong. Well, let me just help you understand what's going on here. It is a nostalgia company. They're playing on nostalgia. Nostalgia doesn't happen now. Nostalgia usually happens in the past. So when we're talking about reliving your past, recreating your past, that's what they're doing. They're just taking a machine and saying, hey, remember this? And putting it in your miniature arcade. Guess what? There's no real cigarettes in it. And the 1/6 scale cigarettes, you can't really smoke them. Can't do it. You can put little cigarettes in the hands of your 1/6 scale action figures, which would be funny. But that's it. This is just funny. It's a joke. It's a goof. They're not really promoting that. If they wanted to promote that, they would have like Joe Camel on the front, make it really cartoonish, so kids would be inspired to, smoke like they did back in the day. You remember those days in the 80s where you had Joe Camel as a cartoon? They were clearly marketing to a younger audience. They're not doing that here. This is a joke. People need to really chill out. This is just a goof. This is something an homage. It's nostalgia bait, right? Taking you back to remember when. This is just remember when. That's all that is. But to further drive that point home and to give you something, and before you get all upset and you start clutching your pearls and freaking out, oh my God, before you lose your mind, okay, and soil yourself, and you have to go, see a doctor to get that taken care of. Before you lose your mind, you whiny wimps out there, slow down for a second and pay attention to what's really going on, because not only are they showing off this, which is definitely a cigarette machine from back in the day, they're not trying to hide it at all. They're also showing off this, and this was really interesting to me. And talking to the guys at New Wave, this was really interesting. Shiloh was telling us a story about, hey, what this company did, Artomat, what this company actually did, and this is really cool, is they took these old machines that had cigarettes in them, right? And they dispensed cigarette packets or packs of cigarettes. What they did is they said, you know what? Let's take these because they're cool and they're retro. Let's take them apart. Let's repowder coat everything. Let's clean it all up inside. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to make boxes the size of, cigarette packs, but let's put pieces of art in them. And we can support local artists. So they've taken something that's very kind of retro, And I love this picture, the diamonds in the back. If you're a kid of the 70s and 80s, you kind of remember what this looks like. They've taken this thing and they've given it like a funky paint job. And this is an art dispenser, right? This is an art dispenser machine. And to drive that point home, they have a carton of art. They use this thing, and at the show, they had little boxes and they would sell their keychains. New Wave Toys was selling their keychains in their Art-O-Mat dispenser. And it's a really cool way to kind of repurpose something that you think that it doesn't have a use. Oh, it's associated with cigarettes. It's bad. And take it and repurpose it and make it something really cool. Retain some of that retro feel, retain the style. These machines were robust, man. They were solid. And because this isn't like a Coke machine from back in the day, there's no refrigerant to try to reclaim. There's none of that. You don't have to try to get it working and keep a can of Coke cold. This is just dry. It dispenses dry goods. So, cigarettes, pieces of art, candy, whatever. And so I think it's really, really interesting and cool to take something that's old and really maybe has no purpose and repurpose it and use it in a way that actually supports local artists. So once again, if you get this version, it's not cigarette associated. It's not cigarette related. There are different faceplates inside. You'll get this little carton of artwork, these little boxes of artwork. It's definitely promoting the art. So if you are offended, if this bothers you in any way, this whole cigarette association, don't worry. You don't have to go for it. You can just go for this version, which is the artsy fartsy style. And there's nothing wrong with this. Because remember, nostalgia is not today. Nostalgia is a time that isn't today. It's in the past. It's yesterday. So while, you may think this is offensive, the reason why we still have cool things like this that is supporting local artists is because it once started out as something that had an actual purpose. It really served a purpose. There was a need for it. And it was in a time where they didn't understand all the negative, physical repercussions of smoking. But what do? We adapt and overcome. We take that and we turn into something new, something different, and something better, and something positive. And so I think this is very, very cool. It's a great way to do it because they could have just come out with this model, but they didn't. They came out with this model to complement it. So if you're upset, I think you're really making a bunch to do about nothing. I think you really need to relax and realize this is just fun. And also, in a couple of days, I guess a little over a week, you can jump in and you can order either one of these and you can support a really cool company made up of 6 employees, made up of 6 cool guys that are just trying to bring something nostalgic. And it's some of the best desk stuff, the best desk, whatever, the best stuff, arcade themed stuff you can put on a shelf ever. It's so cool. So I think that while some people are upset about it and maybe they're just trying to beat their chest and make your voices be heard. I think it's really much to do about nothing. I think it's pretty cool. And, I've actually reserved the cigarette version of this product because I'm an evil person, but I do have a bunch of family members back in the day that smoked. And I remember these things and they were everywhere. So for me, it plays on my nostalgia. But if you don't like it, you can always just either go for the other version or you don't have to buy it at all. Oh, would you look at that?
What the hell?
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up.
Unfortunately, it is that time. We got to go ahead and wrap this thing up, everybody. But before we do, we absolutely have to take a look at the poll. It was a big part of the whole show. It is the inverse or the reverse or the other side of the coin to my big poll question that got almost 600 votes. Let's take a look at it right now. Everybody, the poll question was this. For those of you, 206 vote, 200. Awesome. Thank you so much for voting, guys. We got over 200. Thank you. I appreciate it. Here's the question. The question was simple. I'll give you a few more seconds to vote. Would you pay $6.99 for a 3-player XL cabinet, XL 19-inch monitor, with Alien vs. Predator, Knights of the Round, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, King of the Dragons, Armored Warriors, Warriors of Fate, Captain Commando, and Final Fight? All beat 'em ups. Almost every single one of them, with the exception of the last 2, are 3-player. So this would be a 3-player cabinet, XL form factor. Would you pay $699 for it. It's an XL. It's the big one. Everybody wants it. Does everybody want it? Is that really what everybody wants? Well, let's go ahead and end the poll right now. 213 votes, everybody. Thank you so much for voting. I appreciate it. Let's go ahead and shut it down now. And coming in at second place, well, you know what? There's only two options. Let's go ahead and find out who said what. Does everybody want it? Is XL really the big linchpin? Is XL really the thing that divides the community? Evidently not. So XL with more games, but only $100 more, 58% of you said no. No. So this cabinet actually had a better shot with fewer games and, $100 cheaper price tag. So looks like to me, the thing that divides the community is still at the end of the day going to be price. Price for what you're getting. That's the main thing. So 58% said no, 41% said yes. And the 41% of you, I think you're my heroes and I love all of you. Everybody else, what are you thinking? No, I think it really comes down to, listen, $700 for an Arcade1up cabinet. Maybe that's just too much, even if it is an XL. Maybe $499 is where they should be for every single 17-inch version, the 3/4 scale. And the most they should ever charge is $599. Even if it is a 3-player cabinet, even if it's XL, even if it's got some games that we haven't seen them do yet. Maybe the big thing that divides the entire community, the Arcade1up fan base, is going to be price and not the XL form factor. But I think the two are pretty close. They're pretty well entangled. They're pretty well, they go almost hand in hand. So 58% said no, 41% said yes. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you so much for voting in the poll. I do appreciate you. Hope you have a great week. We have a blessed week. If you want to, if you're interested, Bkong is going on live. I think he's going on live now, maybe 10 o'clock. I'm not sure. But if you don't know what to do, if you're unsure, stay right here and you're going to be automatically redirected to Kong's RS channel. Thank you so much for stopping by, everybody. Check out the channel. You have a blessed day. You have a blessed week. Don't work too hard. And I will see all of you next time. Peace.